Hey, how's it going, Ember? How are you?
Oh, I'm good. How are you doing?
Doing great. The last time we spoke a couple of months ago was right after you debuted, or not debuted, rather returned to TakeOver 31? Not 31. Yeah, it was 31. It was back in
Yeah,
October.
I think it was 31.
Yeah, I lose track of. I know we have different names and different numbers for all the takeovers, but it was back in October. You've been back for 4 months now. How's the experience been like being back in NXT for the last couple of months?
It's just getting back into the grind.
Mm-hmm.
It's different for me because I'm not based in Orlando, so I'm still traveling every week in
Mm-hmm.
and out to NXT, and so I still feel like I'm on that like grind that I was on Raw and SmackDown, but like it feels different because like I don't know, like it's just such a different atmosphere at NXT in the Performance Center, and like I'm just happy to be back, man.
Yeah, and obviously, so far you've been on three takeovers. You returned to the Takeover 31. You were at War Games, and now you're on Takeover on Sunday too with Vengeance Day, which is awesome. This time in the finals of the Women's Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. And when you came back, you announced your intentions, obviously, to become an NXT Women's Champion again. But could you have ever imagined coming back to compete in the first ever Women's Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, the first of its kind?
I mean, no. I'm gonna be honest with you, no.
Yeah.
Like never in a billion years did I think that I would be in a tag team
Yep.
because I've been very adamant about being a solo wrestler, and I've said it in interviews, but like something about Shotzi just made this feel special for me,
Mm-hmm.
and it felt right. We did some stuff at War Games which I was like, oh man, like she thinks the same way as me.
Yeah.
Like, like okay, cool. And then like they were like, hey, we're gonna do this Dusty Cup. Who would you want to tag with? And I was just like, if you even want to do it. And I was like, well, it's the first ever Dusty. Of course I'm going to do it. I'm Ember Moon, damn it. And I was like, like I went down the list in my head and like I just kept coming back to Shotzi, 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 Shotzi. Like I just felt like, yeah, this is the one right
Yeah.
here. If I'm gonna tag with anyone, it's her, because like when I was on Raw, when I was on SmackDown, everyone, their mom asked me to be their tag team partner,
Mm-hmm.
and I was booked in so many random tag teams to the point where I thought about getting a shirt made that said Ember Moon, everyone's favorite tag partner. You know,
Yeah.
Sarcasm aside and joking aside, like Shotzi just felt right, and it felt like it was going to be special, and it is special.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to the Dusty Cup, when it comes to the tag team tournament, the first ever of its kind, like I want this to feel special, and it does. Like, and we're going to take over as a team, like two kindred spirits doing the same jam.
Mm-hmm.
And like,
Yeah.
it just feels right. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this is finally our time to make history, our road to redemption, to hold, well, maybe stand beside, because the Dusty Cup is bigger than both of us. To have our names be the first on something. I've been with WWE for 5 years. I've been a part of a lot of firsts,
Mm-hmm.
but I've never been the first.
Yeah.
And this is my opportunity to do that.
So with something like this, you mentioned you haven't been in a tag team before now. You were part of the Women's War Games. You and Shotzi teamed at that event, which was a great match. What have you noticed have been the biggest differences? Has there been like a transition period for you to kind of get used to the tag team wrestling, or was it like instant with Shotzi?
So tag team wrestling is a whole nother beast, which I feel like we just need to acknowledge that it's not the same as doing a singles match, because you have to have a partner that you rely on, even if you can't see or hear them, which is so important when it comes to chemistry in and out of the ring. Tag team wrestling is a whole nother beast. Like it really is. And like, I've never tagged really on the indies. Like I would do like occasionally like a spot show here and there, or like 6-man tags, which are just, that's a different beast for building matches and stuff like that. But like tag matches, like they're hard, they are difficult, and like I'd be lying if I said that it just came naturally, because it's still not coming naturally.
Yeah.
It's just, we're trying to blend our two styles and make magic in the ring, which is worked so far in our favor, so I cannot complain there. But we have Dakota and Raquel, who are a well-oiled machine that have been doing this for a lot longer than Shotzi and myself. So we have a lot to live up to, and we understand the threat that is Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai.
And I think a lot of people forget that your first match back on NXT was on the weekly Wednesday show against Dakota and Raquel with Rhea Ripley as your partner at that point, and you beat them. So that has to give you an advantage going into Sunday, right?
No, because if anyone else remembers, after that, they floored me for like 6 weeks straight going into War Games,
True,
I mean,
yeah.
like, I do have the tag advantage against them,
Okay.
but at the same time, like, I know that they have been watching every match. Like, I see them by the monitors. Like, you can't miss Raquel, good old Big Tex over there. She stands out like a sore thumb.
Yep.
Mostly because no one wants to go near her other than Dakota, so I know that they've been watching us. So, like, we're going to have to change it up. We are going to have to change our strategy going into the match with them. Because one, like, out of all of our Dusty matches, we've never faced anyone like Raquel. And watching Raquel and Dakota's first and second round matches, I was just like, holy crap, they stepped it up.
Yeah.
Like, they were kicking people in the faces, ovary stomping, like all sorts of stuff. And I was like, oh man, they like stepped it up. So we have to step it up even more going into this match.
Yeah. How have you seen that chemistry with Shotzi develop from when you guys first teamed in War Games and the first Women's Dusty Classic Tag Team match to where you guys are now?
It started a little rocky, like, I think, like, we did one thing to Raquel at War Games and I was like, oh, this was cool. Like, this is different.
Yeah.
This feels cool. And then, like, finding out we were going to be tagging together to our first match where we were like, let's just keep it simple and get through the match. Like, let's just get the W, you know? And we had Marina Schaefer and Zoe Stark, who I didn't really know about either, other than Morena is a part of the MMA Four Horsewomen. Like, I didn't really know a lot about her in-ring style because I've never really seen her, but holy crap, do they both pack a punch? So it's just like, no, let's just stick to what we know. And then the match with Candice and Indy, like, we were going out like, okay, we have to pull out some stops. Like, I've known Candice since the independent scene. She knows every little bit of Ember Moon inside and out from the before times. So there's not really a lot I can do there, but, like, implementing that tag team strategy worked out for us. And Indy Hartwell, who is still getting her footing a lot of the time, but she showed out on NXT TV last week, and she showed that she is a threat as well. But I think our numbers game kind of surpassed theirs, and we ended up grabbing the W, and Shotzi got to put a nail in that coffin.
Definitely. And I mean, we found out last week that the finals were taking place on Sunday at TakeOver, and you guys had the match last night. You won against Candice and Indy. Then we find out minutes later when you guys are going face-to-face with Dakota and Raquel that the winners get a future tag team title shot against the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. So does that add extra pressure for you, or what's your mindset when you hear something like that?
Oh, absolutely. Like, time and time again, like, I know the NXT Women's Division has wanted the tag team gold. And I told you guys when I first got back, Mama's hungry for some gold. And though it's not Io Shirai right now, like, it's the WWE Women's Tag Team titles. And I think that our division is so much stronger as a whole that, like, I feel like if we brought those tag team titles home, like, oh my goodness, the amount of matches with Caden and Casey, and then you have Candice and Indy and Dakota and Raquel, and, like, there's so many countless others that you guys don't even know about that are just amazing. Xia Li, like, maybe Tian Shaw might jump in there. Who knows?
They could, yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm down for that. She's a little scary, and I don't really mess with none of that.
Yeah.
But, like, the dynamic of having not NXT. I keep saying they're NXT tag team titles because I feel like we've already won them.
Yeah.
But, like, having those tag team titles at NXT, like, oh my gosh, that opens so many doors. Not only that, you're going to get to see us a lot more on Raw and SmackDown as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's going to be an awesome thing. Hopefully, if and when that does happen. You mentioned Io Shirai. She's still in your sights. You guys got the chance to team up at War Games. That match is inevitable. It's more a matter of when than if, tag team or not. It's going to happen at some point. What was that experience like, teaming with Io at War Games for the first time?
So for the past, I think, decade, Io Shirai is someone that I consider the best female wrestler in the world, hands down. Like, I've seen the chaos that she's done in Japan, like, the insane amount of things. She is crazy good, and being able to share a ring with her, seeing her jump off a steel cage with a trash can on her head with no fear, like, it's definitely eye-opening. Like, her dedication to keep her title is bar none. But I'm going to need her to win at TakeOver because Mama's coming for that too. Like, I'm not joking when I said I was hungry for some gold. I want to be the first ever double champion at NXT, and I'm going to do that.
Yeah. Definitely. Final few questions for you, Ember. I mean, obviously, with you coming back to NXT in the last couple of months, you came back in October, you've been back for a few months now. Is there anyone that you see on Raw or SmackDown that you think could really benefit from, not necessarily going back to NXT, because it could be someone that's never been there before either, that you could see from Raw and SmackDown joining you in NXT and you feel like would be a perfect fit there, whether it be someone that was already there or someone that hasn't been there before?
I don't know. That's a hard question because, like, I looked at myself, like, taking myself out of the equation, doing WWE backstage and just being like, I don't know if I fit at Raw. I don't know if I fit at SmackDown. You know, I fit at NXT, you know, so I just don't know because I feel like everyone is doing a phenomenal job on TV right now. Like, and we're getting to see a lot of new stars get their just due on TV, even those that we haven't seen in a while, like Carmella, Bianca winning the Royal Rumble, you know, like there's, you know, personally, just because I think I'm a little jelly and I enjoy working them or wrestling with them so often, I would love to see the Riot Squad, but I think it's just my personal jealousy of me wanting to have matches with them again.
Yeah.
Like, because they're awesome. They really, really are. Honestly, like, I would just love for Billie Kay to do a drive-by at NXT and pass out some resumes. Like, that, she's just so fun. Peyton Royce. I mean, like, I could say any name and you guys would be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Oh yeah, that makes sense. But I think it's just the jealousy of seeing what they're doing there and just wanting to be a part of that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, actually, the more that I think about it, they don't even have to come to you because if you're tag team champion, you can just go to their show and face them. So, I mean, that's also a possibility too, you know? You mentioned the Women's Rumble. You were in the Women's Rumble a couple of weeks ago. When did you find out about that and how cool was it to kind of be back among the ladies of Raw and SmackDown for the first time in a while?
I kind of found out right after my match with Zoe Stark and Marina, so like the week of. That normally sounds about right. They try to keep everything secret, and it was kind of weird because I'm like, oh man, I just left all of that, and now I'm going back.
Yeah.
And I was very mixed about it because I was like, I don't know how I feel about it. Am I going to be happy to see my old friends again? Am I not going to be happy? Like, because I didn't tell anyone I was coming back to NXT. I didn't tell anyone at all other than Alexa Bliss, who's my bestie. You know, like, it was just weird, and I didn't know what the reception was going to be. And like, I remember seeing all the girls that I'd share a locker room with there, and they were like happy for me, which was so weird. Too, because like you would think like they'd be like, oh, so you didn't tell us? And I'm like, well, yeah. You know, because like it literally came down to me maybe having a second surgery and being done with wrestling altogether, or me coming back. Like, that was my last doctor's visit. So like literally I was coming to the Performance Center for all of the month of September. Like, I was here for an entire month in hoodies and just like not telling anyone I was here, and then people would see me here and I'm like, oh, like, and I'm having to lie to them, and they're like, we know something's up if you're here. I'm like, oh, I'm just doing rehab here. You know, things shut down back home. Like, you know, and like, I just didn't know what that reception was going to be. It was so warm and welcoming that like, it actually kind of took me aback because I've always been a loner. I've always been kind of like by myself until recently with Shotzi. You know, I've always had Bliss there, who's a phone call away, but like it felt so warm and welcoming on a different level that people were just excited to see me back. You know, so it felt special, and like where I was worried, I guess I shouldn't have been, you know, but being a part of the Rumble, which is my favorite pay-per-view, like that's always just fun.
Yeah, and it made for a great moment. It was cool to see in the match. And final question for you, Ember. As a longtime fan yourself, is it cool to get the Vengeance name back as part of TakeOver on Sunday? It's not St. Valentine's Day Massacre, which is what people wanted, but Vengeance is still pretty cool too.
So like, some of my favorite pay-per-views, can we get like No Way Out back, please?
Yes, please.
Like, I just want NXT to get all the old pay-per-view names that we stopped using. But I don't like Valentine's Day Massacre. It just sounds so corny. I've never liked it.
True,
you know?
True. Yeah, I understand.
It's just corny. It's like, oh. It's like, no, we not. But, you know, it's really cool for us to be titling our takeovers other than TakeOver in 2047, you know, because eventually we would get there. and I feel like that's a mouthful. So it is really cool that we're getting names for pay-per-view. Also, like, we have our NXT TV specials that we have now too, like Halloween Havoc and New Year's Evil. Like, those are cool too. So like, it's just really cool. I don't know. It's just really cool to be a part of TakeOver, because like, we go and we try to steal the year every time we go out there, and I know like there's a competitive atmosphere, not only within the matches, but like outside of the matches. Like, I know we're like, hey, we got to outdo the guys. Like, and the guys are like, oh, we got to outdo the championship match. And then like, Io's like, I'm going to be crazy and jump off something. And we're like, yes, you are, So it's just us being able to just have takeovers to just show out and do what we do best. Like, that's just the best part. It doesn't matter what the name is. For me, it's just cool that it is Vengeance. I just need us to have a No Way Out so we can get them swinging. You remember
the pendulum?
The See No Evil? Yeah, the hooks. Can we just have those? I know if they have them somewhere in some mythical warehouse. I know they exist. I just want something like that. That would be fun.
I think you're thinking of Backlash. I think that was Backlash.
No, so
sure?
Remember. Yeah, so like they used them for like 3 pay-per-views back to back, because they had the See No Evil movie with Kane that it just came out. And so it was No Way Out, I think it was Vengeance Day, and maybe it was Backlash, but it was like 3 pay-per-views back to back that they used them. And it's my favorite prop other than the SmackDown fist.
It's definitely in the warehouse somewhere, so someone's got to go fish it out and use it for the next takeover. That's the hope, so fingers crossed. But it's going to be coming up on Sunday. You, Shotzi, Raquel, and Dakota, finals of the Women's Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. It's going to be awesome. Thanks so much for the time, Ember. I appreciate it.
No, thank you.